Being someone who has lived her whole life in the South, I love snow. I love whenever I get to experience it. It's really only maybe once or twice every 3 or 4 years that I even see a good amount of snow. I love how quiet it gets when it snows. I love how everything feels different. Every place you look, every place you go, it's just different. But my favorite thing is the footprints and the sled marks and the leftover snow angels and the snowmen, the remnants of a lovely day for all. Snow brings out so much sweetness in people. It brings about that same kind of nostalgia of a sweet childhood. We grab our sleds.
Hat down! Emma! Emma!
And we want to rub our faces in the snow. Grown-ups charging down hills face first. We make snowballs and announce innocent wars on each other. Unless you're a cadet. Then it is completely serious and they don't play around. They will hit you so hard.
Damn! Oh! It's all over.
The trees look like diamonds the day after, and the sun returns. The very tips of even the tallest trees are left glittering. The sun gleams on the white ground, and everything begins to de-thaw. Reawakening.
It's just raining now. The roads are nasty. But it's so beautiful. So pretty.
Of course, during our total of 2 snow days, I went to the cemetery. I have always been someone who's found a lot of comfort and peace in cemeteries. I just think they're so beautiful, especially older ones. I have a special connection to this cemetery also because when I first moved here, I didn't have any friends. That was by choice. I just chose not to speak to anyone. That is my prerogative. I went to the cemetery a lot and I would read there and journal. And there was one grave in particular that stood out to me, and it was a little boy's. And a stranger, or maybe a family member, had placed a stuffed bunny on his grave, and it had just become a little bit dirty because of the amount of time that it was there. And I came back a couple months later, and they had placed a porcelain bunny there instead, so that way it wouldn't have any damage. And so usually, anytime I go to the cemetery, I always check on his grave, just make sure everything looks good. He's being treated well, of course. And this time, whenever I went, I actually put a little snowman on his grave, and I just thought it was really sweet and beautiful. And I wanted to share that with you because I think it's a really special story for me. And I recommend, snow day or not, just going to check out your local cemetery because I bet it's a really beautiful place and you never know what you might find. One of my favorite things that I own is my collection of writings. I have this little tin and I keep all of the sweet notes or cards I've been given or flower petals from flowers I've gotten from family and friends over the years, or even just like concert tickets or a parking garage note that I've gotten from some experience that I had with one of my friends. My favorite thing that I've gathered from antique stores that is also in this tin is the photos. I always sniff out those bowls or pails that have loads and loads of antique vintage photos, and I just look through them for way too long. If I find them, I just have to buy them. I use these for bookmarks most of the time, and I think they are just wonderful. I also have a collection of postcards. Same as the photos. If I find them antiquing, I will only buy the ones that have writing on them. Most of the time, whenever I look for photos, I also look for photos that have writing on the back, because I just think that's so much cooler. Most of these postcards are from Europe. Some of them are from Paris, and others are from around the London area. Being able to see this long-lost connection and faces of those who I will never know is just absolutely magical to me. It feels like I'm looking back in time. So if you're looking for some cool conversation-starting bookmarks, look no further. I am, after all, here to help you achieve your utmost pretentiousness. But these are truly wonderful, and I adore them. This is just like my first ASMR video. I might post one. I love ASMR. I might eat that down. So, here is the situation. I saw maybe 2 comments, which is plenty for me, ask to see my vinyl collection. So that's what we're doing today. But I also thought it would be fun to talk about my favorite books as well. And then an update on the CDs that I've been listening to frequently since my vulnerability video. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the CDs, then we'll go to books, then we'll finish out with vinyls. So, I've been listening to a lot of Tony Bennett because I've been in a easy listening mood and kind of like a jazzy classic mood with the cold weather and the snow and everything. So I've been listening to a lot of Tony. I've been also listening to a lot of Errol. Same energy, same vibe. I listened to a lot of Errol on the day that it was snowing also because I was like, that's just such a cozy little vibe. I've been listening to so much Notorious B.I.G. recently. Gimme the Loot has been on repeat. So it's like I just put it on and I feel like I am the baddest and I just walk everywhere like, give me the loot, give me the loot. I love that fucking album. One of the greatest albums ever, dare I say. But I've been listening to the Greatest Hits CD in the car. And then I know I said that I have an Alanis Morissette CD inside of the Wallflowers case, but someone told me in the comments that the singer of the Wallflowers is Bob Dylan's son, and you best bet I ran my ass to Spotify to listen because we all know I love Bob Dylan. And I listened, and I think that this album is so sweet and like, it just is so late 90s and fun and summery, and it just feels really nice to listen to. And Jacob sounds so much like his dad sometimes, it makes me want to weep. I love how much he embodies his father because he has his own taste and he has his own thing, and he's definitely doing his own thing with the Wallflowers, but he just sounds so much like Bob sometimes. It just makes my tummy hurt. It's very good, and thank you to whoever said to listen to it because it's bomb. Those are my CD updates. On to literature. I tried to tell myself to only pick out a few. I think I have 8. So we'll start. Anytime anyone asks me what my favorite book is, I just say The Stranger because it's one of my favorite books of all time. And I love Albert Camus so much. I want to kiss that man on his face. I love him. I think he's so intelligent and interesting. And I have like almost all of his books, and I've read a chunk of them. I need to finish. I don't think I've read The Plague, but I love The Stranger. I think I've read it 3 times, thrice, if you will. I've written all over it, and it's just a classic, and a lot of people say it's overrated, but I love it. And those of you who have read it, I just have to say, sometimes I understand Marceau, because sometimes I'm sitting in the car for too long and the sun is on my skin, and it makes me very overstimulated. Also, I hope that this isn't too loud, because it kind of makes this like sound. You hear it? So this collection of short stories we read for my class, my short story class last semester, I fell in love with Casey Plath. She is a transgender writer, and this is her collection of short stories called A Safe Girl to Love. I just was so enamored and obsessed with this collection. I think it's so beautifully written. I think that it's so unapologetically blunt. Like, it just tells it how it is, and it's so incredible to hear her stories portrayed through different characters and how the stories can intertwine in certain ways if you pay attention. So well done. I love Casey Plath. She is incredible. I included a couple of different books than I normally read, because normally I am a classic girl, or like feminist literature, like feminist fiction. I just find it really interesting, and My favorite genre is woman who's driven insane by the societal pressures that she undertakes, whether conscious or subconscious. That's just my favorite genre, is like women going insane due to expectations. That's besides the point. So I'm in a book club with my girls. We ended up choosing permanence. And at first I was kind of like about it because I'm just not really a huge fantasy person. I was in middle school. I was really into fiction and like imaginative fiction, but I was so obsessed with this book. I finished it in like 4 days, I think. It's so sweet and cool and interesting and unique. I just really recommend it. Susanna Clarke is a wonderful writer. This narrative is so cool. I want it to be made into a movie so bad. I think it would be such an interesting movie. But permanence is really good. It's a really easy read, but the plot is super interesting and it's very easy to continue reading. The first 30 pages are a little bit confusing because you are just thrown in. You have no fucking clue what's going on. But page 35, you're like, oh, okay, shit. I understand. But I highly recommend permanence. Really good book. I love permanence. I have never finished this book all the way through, but I found myself going back to it multiple times. I think I've gone back to it like 3 times and I've just never finished it because I've been distracted by something else or I've been preoccupied with work or school. But Fernanda Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet is so interesting. The first time I was reading through it, I think I got to like maybe about 100 pages in, and I was like, somebody took a transcript of my brain and wrote it into this book that's from like early 1900s. He passed away in 1935. I'm not sure when this was published. I think it was around the 1920s. Around the 1920s, I think it was published, but it was never fully appreciated until after he died in 1935. This book is crazy. I literally I'll be reading it and I'll be like, I've never seen something that literally my exact thought that I've had before is written in a book in front of my face by a total stranger who's been dead for like almost a century. It just blows my mind, and it's just a really interesting like philosophical way of portraying really simple things in life. And the way he just explains it is just so cool. So cool. I love this book. It's so interesting. I recommend. So I also didn't finish this book. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have a really hard habit of finishing things all the way through. Like, I definitely have ADHD undiagnosed. Bad girl. Really bad. Really bad. No Longer Human is really good so far. I like depressing books. I like books that are not happy. I really like things that are gonna make me think and that are gonna make me hurt. I think that this is really well written and it's very depressing, but I recommend it if you like sad literature. I'm currently reading Banana Yoshimoto again, Lizard. I know I put this in one of my videos at some point whenever I bought it, I think, but it's just delicious and her prose is amazing and I love it. Annie Ernaux is one of my favorite authors of all time. I love Annie Ernaux. I think she's so incredible and she's so innately connected to her womanhood and her experiences, and the way that she can portray and describe them is just absolutely fantastic. This is a girl's story. I never finished. Did I finish it? No, I finished it. I finished it. Yeah. I have writing on the back. But I have this book in place of Happening by Annie Ernaux. That story is about her personal experience with her abortion, and it's just delightful. It's sad as fuck, but like, it's a woman and her experiences and putting them very bluntly and being honest and real and intellectualizing everything about it, and it's just amazing. I love Annie Ernaux. I could not recommend her more. Last book. This is a bit weird. So I love McKay's very much. I will go to McKay's anytime I'm home because I have a McKay's like close to within like an hour of where I live. And so if you don't know what McKay's is this huge buy, sell, rent bookstore. It has books, it has CDs. It's where I bought all those CDs. It has a bunch of like old games. It has Wii games. It has Xbox games, it has stuffed animals, it has guitars, it has speakers, it has microphone, it has fucking everything, and I grew up going there, so I am just so obsessed with McKay's and I love it so much. Sometimes whenever I go, if I'm passing by a book and it catches my eye, I'm like, I'll buy it, fuck it, without looking at it. And that's what I did with this book, and it's called How to Talk to a Widowy, sorry. And it's by Jonathan Tropper. And I really enjoyed this book because once again, I'm usually somebody who sticks to like depression or feminism or classics. And this is just like a nice fiction book. It's like a nice story, and I haven't read it in a really long time, but it's basically about Doug Parker, and he's a widower, and he's kind of trying to re-infiltrate his life into being social, into being present, into dating. He tries to become closer with his stepson, and it's like, it's funny, and it's just an interesting story, and it's just like an easy read, and I really liked it. I made the mistake of looking the book up on Goodreads, which kind of made me want to die because people are so mean on Goodreads every single time. But some people were saying that Jonathan Tropper is like an ass or some shit. Remember those bookmarks that I literally probably put in this video before or after this part? So if you haven't seen it yet, ignore me. I just found 2 more. I really liked it, and I thought it was a really fun read. I think I read it in like 2 days. It was just fun. It was just a fun book to read, and I thought it was sweet, and I enjoyed it. So those are my books. On to my final collection. Okay, I don't even know half of the shit that's in here, to be honest with you, but we're just gonna start from the top. Starting off strong with my main man, Jeff Buckley. I love him. I can't say anything else. I think I found his music maybe 2 years ago, and I have a tattoo for this man. He's in my locket. I just think that he's absolutely incredible, and it is a fucking shame that he passed. But I love Jeff Buckley with all of my heart and soul. My heart beats for him. Is that dramatic? So this is Jeff Buckley's You and I vinyl. I got it whenever I was in London, because whenever I go shopping for records in the US, I never find Jeff Buckley anywhere. If I do, it's Grace. So I went record shopping and I found this, and I was like, you are coming home with me. I'm paying as much money as I need to get you home with me. Love him. The next one is The Smiths. I think this is Reel Around the Fountain. Hello? Let's have a look. I feel like a fake. I'm a fake fan. Anyways, The Smiths. I also got this in London, and I just I love The Smiths. I do love The Smiths. They're great. Morrissey's a cunt, but that's okay. It's not okay. It's just like, fucking whatever. Next one, this is my Puma Blue record. Puma Blue is such a cool guy. He makes like really beautiful, dark, interesting, like really sensual, intimate, slow jazz, slow, dark, kind of sometimes more ambient music, jazz. Music is insane. And I got to see him live and meet him, and he's so short, it made me giggle. So this is In Praise of Shadows. So good. If you want to try listening to Puma Blue, listen to Want Me. That was the song that got me hooked, but yeah. Next is Andy Williams' Moon River and Other Great Movie Themes. I love Andy Williams because of my grandmother. One of her favorites is Andy Williams, and his voice is just something special to me. I think growing up listening to him was really special for me, and I just love him. I think he has such a comforting energy about his music, and I love it. His cover of Moon River especially is amazing. I also love The Second Time Around a lot. It's just such a sweet little song. So, we got bread, baby. I love bread. I love bread, the food, and the band. I love bread so much. I went through a phase where like I could not listen to anything but bread. I'm so obsessed with them. I think they're so good. Diary is one of my favorite songs like of all time. I love them. They're great. Baby, I'ma Want You is what this album is called. So, I love bread. I'd say to my grandparents, may I please have bread? If you get that reference, you're probably gay and you're also probably cool. So next I have a Nat King Cole record because I love Nat King Cole. He's also one of my favorites. His voice is just also so special. But yeah, this is Nat King Cole. I'm pretty sure it's just like an overview of some of his popular songs. Next we have Paul Anka. It's just his most popular music. Next we have Perry Como's Christmas, because what the fuck is better than putting on a record at Christmas time with old-timey Christmas music playing? Nothing. This is one of the antique finds that I didn't know what it was. I just thought it looked cool. But if you know this album and you think it's good, tell me and I'll listen to it again. I'll give it another shot. Next, we have a bunch of Mozart. I'm not really a big fan of Mozart. I'm sorry. And then I got this opera, and I have not listened to it since I got it because I'm not an opera girl. I just am not, girl. I can't do it. It stresses me out and it overstimulates me. Very impressive, like vocally, but it's just not for me. Foreigner. Sorry. I have a Foreigner record. I got me and my dad tickets to go see Foreigner 2022, I think. And they were so good. It obviously wasn't Lou singing, because he was sick, so he wasn't touring, but there was another guy who was singing for them, and he was great, but he was really funny because at one point he was like, "Where's my spotlight? Give that back." Jeff. He made a reappearance. I love him. I think I have 2 copies of Grace because I bought one, and then my beautiful, amazing, really fucking cool friend Paige also bought me one, and they are very sweet. And I will never get rid of them. Grace is one of the greatest albums of all time, by the way. Don't get it twisted. You have to listen to it. If you're gonna be a subscriber, you have to listen to it. Okay. We have Bob Seger. I watched a lot of Supernatural in middle school. I have another Andy Williams record because he's just the darn best, and I love his voice and I just can't get enough of it. Next, we have Styx. I love Styx. We got Asia. I love Asia. Bryan Adams. Yeah. This album is fire, but his best album is the Spirit soundtrack, and I will die on that hill. So I have David's album by Joan Baez. She's incredible. She's fucking amazing. I have another Bread. I just love Bread. I can't get enough of them. I just think they're just the bestest ever, and I love their music very much. So, I have James Taylor. One of my mom's favorite artists of all time is James Taylor, and because of that, we listen to him at Christmas. We listen to him all the time. I love him so much. Orleans, Waking and Dreaming. I didn't know who the Orleans were until I bought this record, and then I listened to it, and then I became fucking obsessed. I love them. I really enjoy their music a lot. Yep. I have the Kinks. Get your mind out of the gutter. I have their Greatest Hits. Really good. Okay. This huge antique mall that's really close to my hometown. I go there all the time whenever I'm home. And they have like a fuck ton of records. Just so many. So I found this. And if this is fake, don't tell me. Let me have this. I found it signed. And I got it for $8. This is crazy. You know this is a big bookie deal. Yes! I have another Bob Dylan. I have Slow Train Coming. Here's the other Grace that I have. This one is still in the packaging because just to like preserve it a little bit better, you know? It's another James Taylor album. I think this is just one of his classics. This is just his greatest hits, but I love him very much. Last but not least, I have Billy Joel's Glass Houses. Listened to him a lot growing up. What's the matter with the car I'm driving? I love him. And then, so this album I actually have still not listened to, I don't think. It's Rags to Rufus. Very cool patterning on the album. It used to be on my wall because I just thought it was really beautiful and I just kept it up there. But I need to listen to it because I don't really know what kind of music it is, but it was just really cool, and it was one of the first ones I ever bought because it was pretty. But that is all of my favorites reading and listening as of late. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I don't know how fucking long it's gonna be with this part at the end because I just can't shut the fuck up about things that I like. I sure can't now, I can't. But I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked it. If you enjoy any of the books or CDs or records that I have, please let me know. I would love to chat and talk about music and books. So, but I think that's about it. Okay, thanks for watching.